Live. So, how we looking, kids? Says I'm alive. I'm feeling alive. I'm alive! Yay! Hey, everybody. Somebody tell me I sound great. Thank you, Elbow. We are almost set up here. So much junk. Hey, everybody. All right, hi. This is Mike Meyers with the Monday edition of the COVID live stream, Ask Mike Anything. The goal of this live stream is to provide those of us who are isolated by the coronavirus an opportunity to continue our studies for CompTIA certifications. In particular, we are more of an A+, Net+, and Security Plus kind of house, but we can certainly move outside of those areas on an as-needed basis. So it works like this. We start, it's 2 o'clock Central Standard Time, so we start. We will run till 4 o'clock or until the questions end. So to ask me questions, all you have to do is type them here into the chat window. I've got Scott Jernigan and I've got, hopefully, Dave Rush. I didn't see. Is Dave Rush with me today also? Dan Richards. Hey, Mike. Hey, Dan. Who are also helping out. If I miss a question, don't panic. Just ask it again, all right? But the goal of this whole live stream is called Ask Mike Anything, and I am here to help you guys out. Now, I know some of you guys may have more complicated questions or questions you may be a little shy. If that's the case, just go ahead and email it to me. Send it to me at michaelm@totalsem.com and just type in your question there. I'll receive it directly. Also, if you're a gamer, I am Senior Pepe on Twitch, and I'm Desweds, DESWEDS on just about everything else. If you don't know what Desweds means, just try typing it. It's a kinetic acronym and it works great for me. So, what is happening today? Good. All right, so anyway, for starters, a couple of very interesting things have taken place. I got a box in the mail. I got a big old box in the mail. And it says, opposed to Italian. So it's from Italy. And the slightly battered box says from Alice Potsy. And I've got your return address now so I can send you stuff. So anyway, so we got this from Alice. All I saw were some candy bars in here, and I will admit I ate a candy bar. But that's about it. So we have all of these. There's letters in here. So this is obviously to both me and Scott Jernigan and Dave Rush. So I'm not sure what I can open or not open. I see something that says Dave in here, so I'm going to let Dave open this up. But Alice, thank you very much. I had a pistachio. I love pistachio. I know I'm weird. Pistachio candy bar that was just unreal. And I can't wait to open one of these up. I don't want to open these up until the other guys are around, Alice, because I'm not sure what the plan is, man. But thank you very much. What a lovely, lovely gift. And I look forward to showing off more of this as we open them up. So, Scott and Dave, you got to come over here to get your fat Alice loot, man, because it's all sitting for you right here. The message is for all of us. Oh. I just saw the word Dave on there. You know it's from a lady who used a hair elastic as a twist tie. Okay. Also, I'm not going to read this out loud in case it's like something, you know, deep and profound. Dear Mike Meyers, you are the only man for me. I want no one... Okay, I'm kidding. That is not what Alice wrote at all. It's a very nice thank you note, and Alice, I really do appreciate it. All these nice words, and even for Kathy, who is going to be the fourth. Well, I'm going to open one of these then. Alice, stop me if I'm not supposed to. There's 4 of these in here. I'm not reading it out loud. I didn't read it out loud. Quantity crypto. Mike has a good person. More bread. Is this bread? Raw. All right. Alice, you're the best, man. Grazie. All right. Fantastic. Good food, man. Me and food go way back. All right. Moving on. Thank you, Alice. That's the best. All right. So let's see who's on here today. Don't read it here. I wasn't going to read it here. Okay, guys, I'm scrolling through the chat, making sure there's not a question I missed. Mike is looking for I guess I missed them. So, all right, if they're coming up, wait, here's a couple. Gruber Accountancy at 2:02. What time is it now? Just 2:06. We just barely started. Can you provide an analogy of the actual encryption? I mean, the files on the drive that are not being scrambled physically. How does the computer read the files? Let me try that again, Gruber. McGruber. Can you provide an analogy of the actual encryption? I mean, the files on the drive are not being scrambled. Okay, I think I know what you're asking for. You're asking for what does the actual encryption process look like? I've done that. If you watch my Security Plus video series, is it Security? I'm pretty sure it's in Security Plus. Or is it Network Plus? Security Plus. It's in Security Plus. I have an entire video that just breaks down how to do a more older-fashioned encryption called DES. And that's wildly complicated. So that would be the place to go through that entire process, Gruber. Otherwise, you're going to have to ask me a more detailed question of how the actual encryption. You got to be careful when you say the actual encryption. Encryption happens at so many places. The only clue you've given me, it says, I mean the files on the drive. So we're probably talking about some kind of drive encryption kind of a thing. I don't know. Gruber, ask me more questions. We just started, so you got plenty of time to ask me more questions. Detail that out a little bit so I have a better understanding what you want. Maven Feliciano at 2:02. How long would you say a CD will last in terms of data retention corruption? Are they more reliable than hard drives and thumb drives when using them for archiving? All right, well, this will be my opinion. I think that optical media, in particular mastered media, will last for decades. Some of the CD read-write stuff will only last for a few years, mainly because the mechanism is organic and they literally will rot, but that's still years. Are they more reliable than hard drives? Assuming that you are archiving, which means you write on them once and you put them in a nice, cool, dark place and never mess with them again, yeah, they're a lot more reliable than hard drives. If you're talking about something you're going to be reading to and from all the time, multiple times per day, then I would say no, then the hard drive is going to be more reliable. Hang on, kids. How does that sound? A little less clippy, I hope. All right, notes, make Mike cry. Quality, quantify crypto. What a great name. Never going to forget that one. I'll be there tomorrow to deliver the gear for the project we're working on. Yes, Dave, so come on over and get your bread and candy bars because I don't need it, but I did eat some of the candy bar. It was absolutely delicious. Yay. Ulysses Farrar, long time no see. Ulysses, good to see you. That's not bread, it's panettone. Okay, thank you for the panettone. This crazy American will figure out the difference here. I'm going to look it up while I'm thinking of it. What is panettone? P-A-N-E-T-T-O-N-E. Panettone is a type of Italian sweetbread that women give to men that they're madly in love with. Gee, Alex, you got him all choked up. I'm kidding. It does not say that. It's a Christmas and New Year Italian traditional cake. Bread, sweet bread. So I am going to enjoy that very much. See, even Maven knew that was panettone. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. The panettone seems quite fresh still, Alex, even though you shipped it a while back. Andres Neary. Hello, Andres. Question I have for Mike. What TCP port FTP uses in passive mode? In passive mode, it would use 21 both directions. In active mode, it would use port 20 for a return path. Quantity Crypto. Hey, Mike, how long would you wait between taking Core 1 and Core 2? About 15 minutes. I usually recommend to people that they schedule both tests and sit for both tests on the same day. The reason I did that and have made that recommendation literally for decades is because until fairly recently, CompTIA did a really bad job of separating the two exams. And there was a tremendous amount of overlap between the two A+ exams, and it was not something that you could easily schedule separately because I couldn't teach it separately. Well, starting with the 1001 and 1002, CompTIA has done a much better job of separating the A+ exams. So the challenge I've run into, like for example, my publisher, McGraw-Hill, I make this all-in-one book. I've got very old copies of it here. So I have like the A+ all-in-one book, but now I want to do two books. I want to do a 1001 and a 1002 book, and literally McGraw-Hill says no. I still have to keep writing the big thick book. If I were going to be studying for them separately, I'd probably give myself like a 30-day window between the two, maybe only 2 weeks. The idea is that it's almost impossible to study for one and not study for the other. Like on the 1001 exam, it's going to be talking about SATA versus NVMe versus M.2, that type of thing. But then on the 1002, this is going to go straight into formatting, partitioning, that type of thing. And from a learning standpoint, it's really hard to separate those. I mean, yeah, you can separate them. Okay, let's work on the hard drive. We'll get it configured. We'll get it plugged in. It shows up on BIOS. And let's wait 4 months until we get to the 1002 curriculum. Nobody's going to accept that. And I can make that same example over and over again. So even though you can train for 1001 and 1002 separately, it's often just very difficult to do because the criteria of the curriculum. You know, who wants to learn about plugging in a SATA drive and then just leaving it there for 4 months until you get around to the 1002? There's lots of examples like that. Gruber Accountancy, BitLocker, yes. Nobody knows exactly how BitLocker works, first of all. It's a proprietary encryption. Scott Jernigan, can you help me find the video on Security Plus that we could bring up that really just talks about the actual encryption process? Encryptions are, well, just by the nature of having to make them complicated so they're hard to crack, are pretty complicated. Kevin Lopez just in the door. Dan Richards, isn't tape still considered the better option for long-term storage? Dan, we're really running into a lot of questions on that these days. There are places where we're seeing a lot of tape. In particular, a lot of these places that are required to do storage of video information. I got a buddy who's got a Fox Sports, not the news people, Fox Sports, and they have all the downlinks. You know, when somebody goes to a football game and there's that Fox van with the big antenna that sticks up, well, that thing shoots up to a satellite and then it's picked up downstream by a satellite, and they keep all that stuff. They have massive tape inventories. I am unaware of any large enterprise in an office environment, not necessarily an industrial, that could be different, but in an office environment that still uses tape. I don't know of any that still do. Is tape considered a better? Probably, yeah. Some of the, yeah, probably. But to be honest with you, tape is off my radar. It's no longer on the A+, thank God. And usually if I'm doing backups anymore, it's going to be on an individualized basis. I back up to thumb drives. On a work group basis, I usually back up to one external hard drive. I'm also doing cloud backups in a lot of situations, and I'm doing server backups. So that's about it. And if I have anything else that's really that important, that goes straight to an archive. For example, if I do a video series, when we're done with that video series, that's going to go to an archive. But that's a hard drive. I just don't do tape anymore. Mm-hmm. Jason Helms, hey Mike, is CMOS setup and BIOS setup the same thing? Yes. Keep in mind that the original way that we stored the changeable part of the BIOS settings was using a type of technology called complementary metal oxide semiconductor. That was also convenient because it also had a built-in clock. Those days are pretty much over. There is no true CMOS left. We use flash memory. So the word CMOS setup is kind of obsolete. BIOS setup is also kind of wrong. Most people are going to use the word system setup is the more common term, but I knew what you meant. And yeah, there's only one setup in there. And that's it. Muhammad Wali. Hi Mike. Can I know the maximum RAM of my laptop if I want to upgrade? Can you know the maximum RAM? Sure, Muhammad. Basically what you're going to do is you're going to pull up the model number, okay, of that laptop and then look it up on the manufacturer's site. At the very least, they'll have a motherboard book that will give you that information. Certain sites like Dell are a lot better at this than other sites like, say, Asus laptops. But you can absolutely get that information. And it looks like even old my buddy Toll would say, what model is it? There you go. Gruber Accountancy. It is said that websites track you through your IP address. They do. But if my IP address is private, what IP address are they actually tracking? They're tracking the WAN side of your router. Remember that you've got a router, right, in your house or in your office. And on one side of that router is probably an RJ45 connector that plugs into your computers. Or maybe you just use wireless on that thing. You see more and more people do that. On the other side is going to be an F-type connector if it's DOCSIS cable, or it could be another RJ45 connector if you're connecting to Ethernet. It could be RJ11 if it was DSL, whatever it is. But the other side of that connection, the WAN side, that is the address that they're getting. Sean McLaughlin, it's worth knowing that after the exams there's a survey that takes about 10 to 15 minutes. So it's worth factoring that in your checking. The nice part is, Sean, is that the survey is not included in the timer, but it would be definitely a little bit of time. It's not part of the exam timer, right? So you get 90 minutes to take the exam. You know, you finish and you start doing the survey. It's not going to cost you any time. However, it will take you a little time to get through it. Keep in mind that the bottom option is no answer, so you don't even have to answer it if you don't want to. Andres Neri, I'm doing my A+ course and my study material says that FPP uses port 20 in passive mode. It hasn't before. I mean, the whole idea behind typical FTP in active mode, which is traditional FTP, is you talk to FTP with port 21 and it responds with, at least on the data side, of port 20. And because that screws up so many routers, especially NATed routers, they kicked in passive mode. So let's make sure I'm not a liar. This always cracks me up when people ask me questions But really what they're doing is testing me, which is okay. It's been a long time since I've looked at stuff, and things slide by me, that's for sure. I have one source here that agrees with what I say, so don't know what to tell you. Let's see if Scott Jernigan's going to weigh in on this one. Yeah. Yep, I'm right. Oh goodness, look at all these people typing. Do people agree with me or disagree with me? The big exclusive. Hey, Mike, great channel. I've worked in video production, camera line for 9 years. Also enjoy build gaming computers as a hobby. Any advice on how to transition into the IT industry? Sure. Man, if I was going to be transitioning video production into IT is absolutely amazing. The amount of knowledge, hardware knowledge, that a video person needs to know is absolutely unreal. So if I were going to be moving from video production to IT, I wouldn't move very far. I would stay in video production, but just concentrate on the IT part. Find somebody who has a piece of equipment you like. Call them up on the phone and say, hey, I want to sell these. You'd be amazed how often people will give you options like that just for the asking. Sorry. Everybody tries to call me between 2 and 4. I don't even know why that is. So the big exclusive, stay in video. I mean, you got into video because you liked it, I hope. You know, and video uses IT like crazy, Gruber Accountancy. If I'm provided an ISP by a group, i.e. like WeWork, by definition, could they unavoidably act as a man in the middle? By definition. I mean, anybody who's between you and the big internet could technically do man in the middle stuff. But a man in the middle is an attack. And WeWork, God bless them, are not known for attacking their customers. So I would say, I guess technically it could be, but the reality is, you know, if you're, WeWork would be you'd be a customer of theirs and they want you to be happy. Oh, Michael Reeves got a job. Way done. Well done. Yay. That's a half-handed round of applause because my other hand's all filled up. All right, Gruber Accountancy. If I'm provided, yeah, we got that one. Gino. Hey, Gino. Oh, I remember backups on cassette players. Gotta tell you, man, if you guys really wanted to blow my doors off, I need an original cassette player for the first generation IBM PC. If anybody's old enough to remember, you used to look on the back and there were two 5-port DIN connectors. One was for the keyboard. The other one was for a cartridge, tape cartridge. And it's one of the few computer parts that I can't find. Love to get my hands on one of those. Probably couldn't afford it. Tolowit, with CompTIA throwing old stuff in the next Net Plus, do you think MFM drives will show up again on the new A+? No. Haha, you're hilarious. Joseph Turner at 2:16 p.m. I did work experience at a large UK utility company. Yes, they still do weekly tape backups in addition to on hard drives. They know the tape is obsolete. I'm not sure why they do it. So again, like I said, Joseph, I didn't say the tape is gone in a lot of industrial situations. I just don't see it in offices anymore. In no way am I going to challenge what you're saying there, sir, because they're definitely still out there. Okay, so that AMA description on encryption was July 6th. That's a great one to watch. Yeah, Alex, I'm going to go to Italy with Kathy. Me and Kathy are going to be over there. And now that I've spilled the beans, probably Scott Jernigan's going to want to come too. We're going to come visit you. I've got a buddy of mine in Languedoc I want to go see, and then I'm going to go drive down the boot to see you. Yeah, Kathy, one of these Panettones are for you, babe. You better come over and get it because I will eat these. Me and sweetbread go way back. Zach Morrow, look at all these jobs, man. Way to go, Zach. Big round of applause to you, too. Everybody's working. That's all I want to see. Thank you for my, okay, back to Gruber Accountancy. Thank you for the WAN IP address tracking answer. Would it only apply if my WAN IP address is a public address? I guess it is true that some WAN IP addresses can be private addresses. That does happen. No, it wouldn't. It would be the first public address on your edge router to the internet. It wouldn't go past that. So if you've got 1, 2, 3 routers between you and the edge where the internet is, where your first public address is, then that's the IP address it's going to see. And what if my upstream provider is handing me... Do you really have upstream providers who do that are not in the phone business? You see that with smartphones a lot. Verizon was infamous for its 10-dot addresses for the longest time. But even that's changed. So there's your answer. If it's a private address, even on the WAN side, there's just going to be another router up there that's doing NAT that's protecting you. Joseph Turner at 2:23 p.m. Any tips on memorizing the 10, 100, 1000 base X, CX, SX, LXT standards? I don't know. Is it daunting? For the 10 gigabyte, that's the only place where it's daunting, right? I mean, the rest of them are pretty simple. LX is long haul, SX is short haul. But yeah, you got to memorize those because they will ask questions. They'll ask, which one of these is multi-mode? Which one of these is single mode? What is the different distance in kilometers? Maximum speed capability, 10 gigabit warp. But yeah, they're all on there. I do not, guys, and this is always a big thing. I am terrible at coming up with, like, what do you call that? Like when you're learning the letters of the scales on a sheet music. It's every good boy does fine, and then the spaces are FACE. So these little training acronyms or monograms or whatever you want to call them, I'm terrible at it. My answer is I just play with it a lot until I understand it. I see Scott Jerrigan's already posted up. Do keep in mind that we have a Discord channel. The Discord channel, it is not an official thing to Total Seminars. It's not an official thing to Mike Meyers. So I have no control over it. It's all up to Jose Braden, who's owner of that. I do like to drop in from time to time. It is a great channel. Scott Jernigan's in there. It definitely has a little peak after the live streams. But it is gaining a life of its own, and it's something you should consider as a training tool when Uncle Mike's not around to help you. So please do keep that in mind. That Discord channel is a great place to go. I show up at least once a week. Usually show up on Wednesdays. Don't know if I'm going to be able to make it today or not. Guys, a couple other things while we're at it. Do keep in mind that just because you are nice enough to show up today, we have discounts. We have Ask Mike Anything specials. 25% off all A+, Net+, and Security Plus Passport ebooks. So these are the ebooks, all right? And it's 25% off. And all you have to do is go to www.totalsem.com and pick the ebooks, the Passport ebooks. And pick A+, Net+, or Security Plus, or more. And then type in the code JAN, JANSEM 125 at checkout, and you get 25% off already cheap prices on ebooks. So just because you guys are nice enough to show up, we're giving you some deals for some ebooks today. How's that grab you? Yarr, yarr. Happy days. Yeah. Sam McFarland. Iskandar Jalalov. What certifications do you have? I always wonder why people ask that question. I never ask that question. It's okay. Gruber Accountancy. What do you recommend for security? G Suite or a local email client? Neither. I use Proton Mail. And I pay for it. Proton Mail. PROTONMAIL.com. Wonderful folks. Do I even pay for Proton Mail? I forget. I just straight up forget whether I pay for it or not. Yeah, the big exclusive. COVID's hit everything hard, dude, including IT. But I will say that if you've been in video production at all, you already have a pretty good handle on a lot of technology stuff. And there is a lot of places in your industry that aren't being hit hard. Again, like looking for something to sell, find some products, setting up studio work. All this requires people who really understand computing, and it would seem to me there'd be some real opportunities out there. Dan Richards, are you sure it's 25%? No. Yes, 25%. Gruber Accountancy, can you repeat the discount code? Gruber, you can't just scroll up, brother. Scott, can you put the code up there? Oh, come on. Gruber, just scroll up. Jason Elm, so are we calling Mike Uncle Mikey now? Just, sometimes. Eddie Lagos, hey Mike, is IMEI only for GSM? Yeah, I think yes, it is. But everything's GSM now. Keep in mind, GSM is a very tricky word to use because a lot of people hear LTE and they think that GSM is a older version of LTE, or worse yet, they think LTM is a newer version of GSM, and it really kind of is, to be honest with you. So GSM doesn't mean old. All right, you can have an LTE drive, an LTE phone, and it will also use IMEI. Oof. Scott Jernigan likes to use G Suite. I don't know why. Tolowit, maybe Dave Rush could have a session on build your own email server with your own domain for emails on the Raspberry Pi. That would be kind of a cool, I haven't done that in a long time. If I were going to be spinning up a legit public-facing email server, I'd definitely do it on the cloud. I mean, that wouldn't even be a question mark. Probably, honestly, for a lot of you guys who haven't looked at it, Microsoft's the Office 365 suite includes some really powerful tools. I mean, if you're already using Office 365, you can spin up a public email server as part of that suite for like nothing. Zach Morrill. So, Uncle Mike, I missed a little bit at the start. What's on the agenda today? Well, we're looking at all the cool swag that Alice Potsy sent me. So we're going to be eating some sweetbreads and eating chocolate. Oh, yeah, good stuff. We've been talking about some things. Oh, on my big system. I guess I could bring that up for, oh boy, it makes me nervous. I don't have it lit. Put some fingerprints on it. All right, well, that's no fun to see it from that side. So here's the box, mostly built up. So I don't want to do a big deal on this, but we can fire it up for a sec, if for no other reason. Look at some pretty lights. So I've got the lights running pretty good. Right now I'm still in the boot, so they're different colors, but I do have it set up now. I'd have to bring in another monitor and everything. I've got it set up that through software control I can control all the different colors. All the LEDs work perfectly. The only thing I haven't done is, you notice it looks a little dark. Especially you can't see the bottom, but once you get past this little light here, the other third down is basically pure black. So I've been thinking about putting in some more lights just to, I think I did set it at that red, put in some more lights just to light it up more, see where it goes. The other thing I'm really toying with doing is I'm going to yank the all-in-one water cooling system out, and I'm actually thinking about doing a hand-built water cooling, which is something I haven't done in ages. So that could be a lot of fun too. I don't think there's going to be too many questions on this. Lots of @ signs. Remember, Mike, that sweetbread and sweetbreads are very different. That is very true. That is very true. The only other thing I want to do on this box is, why is... Yeah, for some reason, one of these lights isn't syncing with the rest of the system, and I don't really know what I did wrong, but we'll get there. I'm not going to rush the rest of this, mainly because when I get rushed, I do bad jobs on cable management, and I stink on cable management anyway. But put a few more lights in here, and maybe go to the water cooling system. But that's a 6-month window. I'm not going to do any of this in a big rush. But anyway, this buckled together pretty easily, and we'll do another episode on it once I've got it really all the way. That's a surprisingly heavy system. I would say I got at least 20 pounds on here. For a box, that's pretty heavy, to say the least. All right, what do we got going here? How are we doing on time? Well, it's only 2:38. Are we going to have a quick day today? All right, for some reason it decided to scroll itself up. Gruber Accountancy, I usually watch your videos at 1.75 speed. I know a lot of people who do that. You sound so much chipper. Just kidding, Mike. Thanks for everything. Oh, come on, I'm a chipper guy. I'm friendly. I'm friendly. I'm friendly. Andre, there he is. Hey, everybody. Sorry I'm late. Back at 2:27. What time is it now? 2:30. Ulysses Farrar. Mike, any suggestions on VPNs? Do you use OpenVPN? I have used OpenVPN. We use OpenVPN as our primary VPN at Total Seminars. What do you want to do? I mean, honest to Pete, most everybody... you've got a Windows 10 client, or you're running like a, I don't know how to do this on an Apple computer, but I can certainly do it on Android, and I can do it on Windows, most home routers today have some kind of VPN built into them. What is my router address? So I'm just looking on my router real quick. No, I'm not going to let you guys look because you guys are terrible. And we are looking for VPN. Yep, so this one does. Let's see if I can bring this up so you guys can look at this. There we go. Okay, so if you look on this, this is, I've got two routers. This is my closer router, all right? I've got another router which acts as an edge router. So, first of all, if you look, you can see this does regular, a point-to-point tunneling protocol. It does OpenVPN or IPsec VPN, and that's built just straight into this router. It's a real convenience if you have stuff like that, because remember, if you're going to have VPNs, you're going to have endpoints, right? And either your edge routers are going to be an endpoint, or you're going to have VPN pass-through, which brings it to an internal server somewhere in your network. And then usually your laptop or whatever you have is your other endpoint. In general, that's how these things work. And so when you're connecting that VPN, a lot of times, if I'm in a big hurry, I'll just do something cheap and easy like this VPN, PPTP VPN. PPTP is not very secure anymore. However, it's good enough if you do want to do a quick slap dab, get it on there so you can get over and access somebody's server or something like that. PPTP is a perfectly good protocol. The other nice thing about PPTP, folks, pretty much every client on earth, every Windows, every Apple, every Android, every Linux client comes with a PPTP capable VPN client built in. And a lot of times it's just a matter of setting up a username and a password on your router, making sure you know the public IP address, and then just dialing in with PPTP. Again, if it's quick and dirty, I'm going to go with PPTP. Let's see what else this thing's got on it. So I can do PPTP, OpenVPN. Now, this is actually very convenient because what it's going to do here is OpenVPN is wildly complicated to configure, guys, but he's making a whole bunch of assumptions for you that is just going to speed all this up. Yeah, here we go. This is more what I was looking for. And he just pre-configures a lot of this stuff automatically for you and sets all that up. And not only does it do that, but look at this. This is a nice little router. It even comes with a VPN client. So if you want this, let's talk about this for a minute. So why would a home router come with a VPN client? Usually the answer is pretty simple. You've got two offices, all right? So you got faraway office and local office. But you want to be connected to that faraway office all the time. And so these little VPNs are a very, very convenient way to make that more permanent connection. It's a VPN that's almost like always up. Slow, but it works. And then the last thing that caught me, this actually has IPsec VPN. That is like surprising. Let's see how complicated this one is. All right, that's about what I would expect for a IPsec. Very old IKE version, but whatever. All right, well that would work too. Now the only downside, setting up an IPsec VPN is a proud moment in anybody's memory. But you know, a lot of, even Windows 10 doesn't have a good IPsec VPN client. When was the last time I checked that? So I'm actually pulling up Windows 10. I'm going to see VPN provider, connection name, connection time. There is a VPN type built into Windows called IKE version 2, which I have never ever used. If I'm going to be using an IPsec VPN, I'm going to be using an IPsec VPN client. I'm not going to use the one that's built into Windows. I'm going to go out and either buy or have one. Like for example, OpenVPN. Everybody talks about OpenVPN being a great freeware VPN, and it is, it's great, but it also needs a client. And so OpenVPN comes with both a server and a client version. Looking for questions. Sam McFarland, hey Mike, will you be in there today? Probably. It looks like we're going to have a short day today because the questions are a little slow, but I'll probably be in there. And discussing barefoot wine. I have not had a drop of alcohol in 9 days now. I know. Where have all the questions gone? Guillermo Moreno at 2:33 p.m. Question: can you go over the clock multiplier concept? I'm having a hard time understanding it. Sure. All right. So the thing you got to remember is that inside every CPU are these pipelines. Okay, and think of like an assembly line of getting work done. And even the most simple CPUs today have multiple of these pipelines. The other thing that CPUs have today are caches. So they have megabytes of memory that is built into them. Now, you combine pipelining with good caching, 99.5% of the time, for every click of the clock, your CPU doesn't need to talk to anything anywhere. It's just working inside of itself. It's doing some calculation to figure out the log of 25 or whatever it might be. So you got to keep that in mind. One more time. Most of the time, CPUs are not talking to RAM. They're not pulling data from a hard drive. They're not outputting a sound file. They're not storing a file on a NVMe drive. 99.5% of the time, your CPU is just sitting there talking to itself. And the rest of the world is waiting. Clicks of the clock. And that is a good thing. If what I'm telling you is true, and it is true, one of the big problems we ran into 25 years ago was we couldn't get motherboards to run past about 33 megahertz. Built into every motherboard is a system crystal. And this system crystal is kind of like the drum, and it's boom, 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 and it sets the speed for everything. And back in the old days, getting past 33 megahertz was a very, very hard thing to do. Let me rephrase that. It was an expensive thing to do. It wasn't that hard. It would have taken computers from one price point and doubled their price for us to get past it. So a long time ago, Intel came up with the idea of what was called clock doubling. And what it would do is it would take the motherboard speed, which back then was 33 megahertz, and then anytime the CPU was working inside of itself, which is 99.5% of the time, it would run at double that speed. And we called it clock doubling. And so basically all that happens is the CPU, is with clock doubling, the CPU sees a 33 megahertz clock, and inside the CPU is a doubler that just instead of goes, it's going, and it's built into the CPU itself. It is a good thing. Now, today, we're a lot more complicated than that. First of all, we don't clock double. We do a multiplier, which can be, times 2, times 3, times 10, times 20, and it can be a fractional value, times 2.5. And inside the CPU, there's going to be some multiplier. And so is the multiplier 3 or 4? And the answer is most CPUs come off the exact same assembly line. And the difference between an expensive CPU with a higher multiplier and one that has a lower multiplier isn't that they're built different. It's just that the one with the more multiplier passed more tests. Same for clock speed too, by the way. Most of these, when you talk about these different speeds of a Itanium i9 CPU, they come off the same assembly line. Some of them just pass more tests than the other. All right, so that's where the multiplier comes from. Typically, a multiplier is built in. It's a fixed multiplier inside the CPU itself. Over the years, we have seen CPU manufacturers go back and forth in terms of supporting people's ability to change that multiplier. Back in the very old days, the multiplier was set by jumpers. You could go from double to times 3 just by moving little jumpers around. Today, it's pretty much all done through your system setup, and whatever changes you can make in there. On some of the more overclocky motherboards, there's usually like a utility that'll come with it too. So the clock multiplier, for most people, a clock multiplier is something we don't jack with. We just hear good things about a particular CPU and we plug it in and everything's good and the multiplier makes us happy and we never, ever, ever touch it. Ooh, Dave Rush wants to do email. Man, it's going to be a big job, man, do an email server. I'm not saying you can't do it, Dave. I'm just saying it's a big job. Dave Rush wants to take my answers for Guillermo about clock multipliers. Was my answer unacceptable, Dave? All right. Oh, here comes some more questions. Charles Montgomery at 240. Do you recommend setting up a test lab at home? I recommend setting up virtual machines. We've done a bunch of episodes in here. My head's going to be a little low, but I'm going to set. We've done a bunch of episodes in here where we're setting up virtual machines. Mainly because A+ is going to test you on virtual machines for one thing, but equally, if you've got to learn virtual machines anyway, then why not set up a Linux box or things like that so you can practice Linux? You have just made a lab. Think about that. That is a lab. What I don't like people doing is they're going to sit here and go, okay, so I need to get this lab set up and then I can start doing something. No. Come up with a lab that you don't have the right equipment for and then set up more equipment. And most of that equipment's free, folks. Most of the time we're talking about virtualized machines, or if you're a Dave Rush fanboy, then you're going to go with Raspberry Pis, and I'm a believer too, guys. I got plenty of them around. But what I don't want to hear people say is, well, tell me how to set up a lab setup. I don't know how to set up a lab setup, but I can tell you one thing. If Dave Rush is dealing with DNS, then maybe we need a DNS server. If Mike Meyers wants to talk about virtual machines, and maybe we ought to set up a hypervisor and start spinning up some VMs. We had a conversation like this last week where somebody was asking, well, tell me what labs to set up. And the problem is I could probably do labs if everybody had the exact same equipment. That's usually the biggest thing that gets me in trouble during lab configurations, is to try to make them generic enough for everybody. And that gets me in trouble. So I do recommend setting up a test lab at home, Charles, but don't make a big deal out of it. Start by setting up VirtualBox. It's a free download. Set it up. It's your hypervisor. Set that up and let's get started from there. We'll see where you go from there. Dave, you're not invited to Italy. Sorry, man. You want to see my router address? Sure, buddy. What is my router address? Here you go. There's my router address right there. 172.168.1.71. Guys, remember I have two routers. So my internal WAN IP address, just like was described earlier, is a private address. There's another router upstream, and I'm definitely not going to show you that one, Andre. If for no other reason, I don't want you tickling around on my public IP address. Elbow, I trust. You, I don't trust. Ulysses Ferrer, I have a PF Sense machine. PF Sense is great. Nothing wrong with that. PPTP is also da-da-da. Yeah. Yes, it is. Richard Acampo was curious what router this was. This is something I picked up about 4 months ago. It's Asus brand. It's the RT-AX88U. It was a little over $200, but what was important to me is that it had good 802.11ax support, and it's also guaranteed that I'll be able to flash it to WPA3 when WPA3 comes along, if it hasn't already. I need to double check. So Richard, I'm not going to make an advertisement for this particular router. It's good. It has a lot of features on it that I find convenient. There's the model number right there. I like it. It does everything that I would expect for a good home router to do. All right. All right. What do I sound like? Corner Gas. And we don't have any Canadians here. It's a wonderful old Canadian sitcom called Corner Gas. They quit doing it like 10 years ago. It's like super G-rated and pretty funny. Thanks, Mike. How about firewall? What do you use? Circata? No. I've got a lot of different firewalling going on right now. I don't have a particular firewall. Right now, I'm using the built-in one that comes from my ISP, which is quite good. And then I've also got another firewall running on this more internal box. But it's just the firewall that comes with them. Nothing special. So for me, what I'm more worried about firewalls these days is I'm not really looking for stateful firewalls. I mean, anybody can get a firewall these days that says block port 21. I mean, that's not even hard. What I am starting to see is that we're really doing a lot better in terms of stateful firewalls that are showing up on these little on these little boxes. Remember, folks, stateless firewall means I don't care what's happening, just do something. I think I said it backwards. A stateless firewall is going to be something that says block this IP address, or block this MAC address from this time period to time period, or block incoming TCP ports. Because it doesn't matter what state the firewall is in, it will always do it. There we go. A stateful firewall is going to be doing firewalling based on the state. For example, if you get on most home routers, if you get X number of ICMP pings, not just pings, any form of ICMP request on the WAN side, it will start counting them. So if it gets too many, don't ask me what too many is, I don't know. If it gets too many, then the stateful firewall will begin to make adjustments, like it will stop allowing incoming ICMP and stuff like that. So these are all built in these days, and this one has a pretty good in terms of the stateful features. It's not too shabby, and most of the time it's just a matter of turning the thing on. I didn't have DOS protection on there. That's interesting. Respond to pings. Sure, I'm going to throw that in. All right, I'm not going to hit it. This is the router I'm actually working through, so I'm not going to click on anything because the last thing I want to do is go out in the middle of a live stream. S. Sumter at 245. Does using a VPN cause the authorization algorithm to not show up when using a Wi-Fi channel scanner? What? Okay, hang on. S. Sumter, we got this. Does using a VPN cause the authentication algorithm to not show up? No, authentication algorithms always show up when you program them to. When using a Wi-Fi channel scanner, VPN is completely independent of whether it's dependent of media. VPN's not going to care whether you're coming in through wired or wireless. It's not going to make any difference. there's probably something else going on there, S. Sumter, that, man, this is one of these where I'd almost like to see it. S. Sumter, send me an email on that one if you don't mind. There's my email address, michaelm@totalsem.com. I think that one's going to take some explaining and some screen snaps. But definitely let's take a look at that. Do I have any other big projects? Well, I'm reacting to a project that came up last week. And I don't remember the lady. It was a lady who asked. So basically, it was kind of a combined question. It says, one person was asking, Mike, there's all these IT security certifications out there. Which ones do I take? And so I've been working over the weekend, and I mean, I can get you started, but this is kind of the thing that I'm working on right now. Let me show you what I have so far on IT security paths. All right, so the problem with IT security certifications, well, first of all, the biggest problem is there's a ton of them out there, man. I just pulled this up from Wikipedia. There's 40 different organizations offering security certifications, 40 of them. And I have not heard of half of them, so that says something. And there's over 300 IT security certifications. So this is just from Wikipedia. But look at this, I'm just scrolling through. And I had to eventually give up. Is that just in Wikipedia alone, it listed over 300 different IT security certifications. So that's a lot, man. I've been telling people for years that there's over 700 different IT certifications. I may need to count that again. I think there's going to be a lot more than that, but it just gives you an idea. Okay, so basically, if you've got all these different certifications, which one do you choose? Well, you're really going to have to ask yourself some questions to get that answer. Number one, what kind of IT security jobs are out there? And the answer is that, I mean, there's gazillions. And then, do different organizations certify to different jobs? In other words, do people come up with certifications to certify for a particular job, or do jobs follow certain known certifications? And the answer is both. There needs to be more research, but we got a little bit of a start, so I'll show you what I got. So what we need is called a job task analysis, all right? So a job task analysis answers certain questions, like what jobs do people do under the umbrella term IT security? I mean, what kind of jobs are there? So there's a thousands, there's a typo there. There's thousands of job descriptions, tens of thousands, possibly hundreds of thousands of job descriptions. But luckily for us, online job sites are very searchable for job terms and for certifications desired. So basically what I've been doing is, number one, I've been looking at other people's research, but then I started doing some of my own research, and that's what I'm still in the middle of, is what certification names are popping up. And it's interesting because there's a lot of them. So that's what we're still working on. So the other thing is as part of this job task analysis, are there job categories that we can create to help organize these jobs? So what I'm talking about there is, all right, so we have, like, there's Certified Ethical Hacker, there's CompTIA Pen Test Plus. So this is all penetration testing. So can I say that penetration is a job category, or pen testing is a job category? Sure, I could say that, but then I run into a lot of danger that I'm going to end up saying, like 400 different jobs, and I don't want to do that. I'm trying to come up with something a little bit more clever in terms of how it's organized. So luckily for us, there are a few of them that are out there already. So this is one. This is the IT certification roadmap CompTIA did this one a little over a year ago, close to 2 years ago. And you can get this on their website at comptia.org. I should have given you the URL, I'm sorry. If you do a Google search on CompTIA IT Certification Roadmap, you can find this. And what they've done is, they're so small, I'm not going to try to list them all here for you. Those aren't just CompTIA certifications. Those are CompTIA, lots of different organizations. But what they did is they broke it down into 8 different groups. Here's another, don't have this person's name. Hold on, I got the link. Yeah. So this person's name is Paul Jeremy. You should check out this guy's site because he uses that chart we just saw from CompTIA, and he went through a lot of different job sites looking for different types of job titles and doing the best that he could to place these job titles into one of these 8 buckets that CompTIA came up with. And so you've got the URL, you can check that one out. So these job categories from CompTIA included pretty broad topics like information security. I don't even know what that means. I mean, I know what information security is. To me, like Security Plus would cover information security because it's such a broad topic. Network and cloud technologies. Okay, so that's not going to include hardware. Hardware services and infrastructure, there's more your Cisco kind of certs are going to be tucked away in there. IT management and strategy, so this is going to be more governance type stuff. Storage and data, that's going to be mainly cloudy type things. Web and mobile, there's tons of web and mobile certifications out there. Software development, lots of people doing software development, and then training. I hate these job categories. It excludes a lot of really, really important stuff that should be there. Things like audit, things like forensics. I'm sure that the guys who came up with these categories are going to sit there and go, oh, well, that goes under X. And I don't like it. I don't like it at all, guys. And I'm going to keep working on this until we can get it right. So it's not going to be done Wednesday, I can tell you right now. Probably be next week. So basically, I've got a list of things I still want to get done before I can do this presentation. Number one, I'm going to try to find job categories that you like. Well, let me rephrase that. I'm going to try to find job categories that I like, that make sense, that include things like forensics and audit, which are important IT security issues. Number two, I'm going to choose the certification bodies and the certifications that are in demand or that make a real difference. If there's 40 different people out there passing out just IT security certifications, and if I haven't heard of half of them, that's going to speak volumes right there. So I'm going to concentrate on the ones that I know. And we're going to be taking a look like CompTIA will be on there. We're going to be taking a look at ISACA, Certified Ethical Hacker, EC Council. But I got to filter these down, which I haven't done yet. And I'm still working on that. I got a bunch more half slides in here that shows you I've been working on it, but I'm not quite there yet. So anyway, I'm going to get this down to the few certification bodies that are important. And then the last thing is I'm going to compare certs to overlap, to locate overlap in competition. This is my big single concern if I want to break down all these certifications for you, and that is, you think taking a CompTIA certification is expensive? Wait till you try some of these later ones. You know, $500, $600, $1,200, $1,500 is not an uncommon price. So you're going to discover that once you get past a few of your basic CompTIA security certs, most of your other certs are from organizations that have A, been around a long time, B, are expensive, and C, provide an entire pathway of certifications, not just one or two. Tends to be a lot of them. And they have orders to them and all this kind of stuff. So I'm going to take some time and really chew this down. the challenge you'll run into is that if you pick one of these pathways, it's very difficult to jump off of that and then go to another pathway. It's very expensive. So we're going to be talking about that, and I'm going to help you guys zero in on something that'll work. So I want to let you guys know I did not forget about you. We're definitely working on this, but it is a big, big job, and I'm still working on it. We'll get there. All right, back to questions. Zach Morrill, 9 days, yeah. What other big projects do I have lined up? Starting on some of the Network Plus stuff, the new Network Plus. There's some hardware aspects to it that came out that surprised me. So my buddy Dave Rush has picked me up some parts, and we're going to be playing with some equipment that I don't normally associate with playing with networking, but I am. So that's going to be a big project. Scott says he has already responded to this because I took too long. Gruber Accountancy. When I do a speed test, Jason Elms, Mike, I need to come to your area and grab a beer with you. Jason, I'm probably going to be drinking Diet Dr. Pepper right now, but yeah. Gruber Accountancy at 247. When I do a speed test, I test from the testing site to my local router or my first edge router. Your first edge router, Gruber. There you go. Scott Jernigan knows my schedule better than anybody else. So guys, when I see an @ sign, I just move past it, okay? So I'm assuming that y'all are talking among yourselves. Oh my God. Sorry, you guys are posting about Udemy having some sales. Yep, Udemy has some sales. Looking for questions. Mr. Meeseeks just showed up. I need to go ahead. Looking at NordVPN. Nords are fine. I don't know why some people pay money for VPNs. I'm not against paying money for a good VPN. If you're really looking to do it, like a reverse VPN, I would probably pay for something like Nord, because you're paying for a lot more than just the VPN there. All right, guys. Auklard Hellingsing. Hey, this is me from Udemy. Hey, Auklard, how's it going, buddy? Good to have you on board. Questions are slowing down. It's only 3:13. What the heck? I guess it's time for a competition. Okay, guys, what do you want to do? We're going to do A+, Net Plus, or Security Plus. You guys tell me. Which one do you guys want to do? A+, Net Plus, or Security Plus? Sam McFarland, A+ and Net Plus. Guillermo had a question. Did I miss Guillermo's question? Scrolling up. Yeah, guys, sometimes stuff doesn't post. Guillermo, I scrolled up to before 3 o'clock, and I apologize, I didn't see it. Oh, here's another question, 2:58 p.m. Albacos, 10. Mike, check out my question in 38. 38. How bad would it be if Windows updates were Trojanized, as Microsoft has already detected traces in their systems after the SolarWinds hacks? Is there a worse scenario? That'd be a hell of a score to be able to literally Trojanize every Windows system out there. It depends what they did with it, man. But yes, of course, it could be absolutely terrifying. So Guillermo, I don't see your question. I'm very, very sorry. Just type it again, man. I apologize. Hey guys, do remember before we do a competition, number one, that you get 25% off of our Passport ebook. So that's A+, Net Plus, and Security Plus. To take advantage of that offer, all you got to do is go to www.totalsem.com. Head over to our merchant area, pick up an A+ Passport ebook, a Net Plus Passport ebook, a Security Plus Passport ebook. Just grab one of those, and just before you check out, Scott Jernigan will have the special code, which is JANSEM125. JANSEM125. Scott Jernigan will put that right back in the chat window for y'all. Also, do keep in mind, folks, it really makes a big difference here on YouTube to like and subscribe. And so if you please like my channel, subscribe to the channel. And we will, it always helps. So please like and subscribe. Dave Rush, I pay for the Proton Reverse VPN. Personally, I think the Tor browser works really well as a reverse VPN. It needs a little more tweaking than some, say, like the Nords do, which can pretty much be used out of the box. But yeah, Guillermo, I'm sorry, I don't see the question. All right, so we got, looks like A+ is winning. Let's do an A+ question. Resources, total Zems, total video. Where are the practice questions? Okay, here we go. Practice questions. Ooh, what a great question to pop up right from the beginning. You guys ready? Here we go. So here's how these competitions work, folks. Number one, it's not a fair competition. So whoever types in the right answer, I see your question, Guillermo. I'll answer it. Okay, but first let's do this. You ready? I don't want to lose. That's 314. Okay. Here we go, guys. Ready? Here we go. First one who writes in the right answer is going to win a free practice questions of either A+, Net Plus, or Security Plus. So, you ready? Here we go. What kind of cloud exists when several companies agree to cooperate to share a cloud? So, you got a bunch of companies, and they're going to get together, and they're going to share a cloud. I'll give you a clue. It's not private. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Chris Evans came right up. All right, we got it. Chris Evans is the winner. Yay, Chris Evans. Wait, let me make sure. Yeah, Chris Evans. So Chris, you have won either the A+, Net Plus, or Security Plus practice questions. In order to receive your prize, you have to send an email to kathyy@totalsem.com. Scott Jernigan will put all that information in the chat window for you. Send her an email, say, hey, Kathy, I won competition on the 25th. I need access to the A+ questions. This is online, so it's just a matter of time. So well done. Well done to you, Chris Evans. And God, that was almost too easy. Cumulus. You guys want to do one more? Let's do one more. Okay, Guillermo wants to do another one. Then we'll answer Guillermo's question. I think I know the answer to this one. Okay. You're holding a laptop. It's a Windows laptop, okay? And it's a light laptop. In all probability, where is the Wi-Fi antenna? Where is it stored on this laptop? Oh, that was too easy. All right. Okay, the winner is actually Andre, and I know Andre is going to say he doesn't want it because he's won so many times. The answer is it's in the screen or around the monitor. I'd take either one of these. So, Andre, I'm going to assume you're going to pass on the prize. Andre, you have seconds to say something. Otherwise, it's going to go to, give it to someone else. That's what I thought he'd say. All right, so then it goes to Ulysses Farrar. Ulysses, I know you've won a few there too, buddy. Are you still in there? Okay, Ulysses, congratulations. You're the winner. Ulysses Farrar, you win either the A Plus, Net Plus, or Security Plus practice questions from Total Seminars. So in order to redeem your prize, you have to send an email to kathyy@totalsem.com, and she will get you hooked up. And Ulysses Farrar, remember, it's only who says it first that I can see. You were not first, according to me. You were second. Andre was first, but it worked out great. Ulysses, big round of applause to you. Congratulations. Well done. Okay, let's get this question answered from Guillermo. Okay. Can you explain the difference between multi-threading and multi-core processing? And can you give examples, please? Okay, sure, we can do this. So remember, we're talking inside of every CPU are these little pipelines, okay? These little pipelines can process one thread of programming language at a time. Remember, when you have a program like Microsoft Word and your computer's turned off, you have a bunch of files sitting on your hard drive. When you start your computer up and double click on Word, you're actually starting an executable program called winword.exe, but there's a lot of other programs that are part of Word which aren't loaded to RAM. If you put everything that is Word, including like the formula makers and all that stuff, it would fill up your RAM. So a good programmer only pulls up the parts of the executable that are necessary to do whatever you're doing with Word at that given moment. So the moment you pull a program from your storage into RAM, now it's a running program. And there's no such thing as a program in memory. Once it comes to memory, it's a process. So the process is what is in your RAM. The processes will then spawn, as we say, individual threads. Individual threads of code are passed to the CPU, and then the CPU runs that. In older systems, there was one thread per pipeline. So you had an old AMD that had 4 pipelines. You could run 4 threads simultaneously. Intel, a long time ago, discovered that a lot of times when these threads come in, they're really simple. Like one thread just means move data from one memory spot to another. And then it comes another thread right after it that says add 2 plus 2. And a lot of times these very simple threads, if you have the right kind of pipeline, can be stuffed into the same pipeline at the same time and run together. And that's known as hyperthreading. So what you're doing is you are running 2 threads in one pipeline. Now you want to talk about cores. So core is a bit of a different animal. When we're talking about cores, what we're doing is instead of adding more and more pipelines to an individual CPU's logic, we add multiple, in essence, logical CPUs. So what will happen is that we can run lots of these cores, And then the individual cores kind of disappear. We don't really talk about the individual cores. What we talk about is the number of threads that are running at any given moment. So that's the difference between cores and threads. With separate core processor, you like share the same caching, but each one would have their own pipelines. Whew. I don't like that answer all the way. I'm going to think about that more, Guillermo. But I can't quickly come up with examples. I'm sorry. 3:17 p.m. Avocado. Hey, Mike. A+ training. A+ training. The A+ training. Not to be confused with any other A+ training. Hold on. My phone's just gone nuts. Oh. Amazon's delivering my new office chair. Yay. Okay, Avocado. Hey, Mike, A+ training says that once a computer is infected, you don't want to pull data from it and use backups. Generally, that's true. If a user didn't back up and had important file photos, is there a way to safely do it? Well, there's no perfect way to do it, Avocado, but you isolate the system, and then if you're like me, I keep a thumb drive with some good anti-malware tools. I boot off this thumb drive, and I clean the heck out of the system. But yeah, no, there's no other safer way to do it than that. Okay, Guillermo, I feel that I answered your question between multi-threading and multi-core, so we'll see. Johnson Fan, passed the A+, both on the first try in December. Well done, congratulations. Maven Feliciano, second time I won without winning. Come on, dude. Second time I won without winning. So because I guess the answers you type locally pop up faster, I don't know. Maven, you were not. Oh, come on. Maven, if you're going to get upset, I'm just going to give you a prize. But don't you want to win one? Dr. Quinn. Hey, Dr. Quinn. Somebody doesn't like today's video. I'm not sure which. Oh, somebody did a dislike. We're going to give Maven another shot just because I like him. Ulysses Ferrer, Mike, can you explain subnetting? I feel like I just don't get it. Ulysses, we've done a wonderful set of subnetting videos right here on the Total Seminars channel. I want you to... I think you just came up with a great idea for a competition question. Let's do subnetting for the competition. You guys ready? We're going to do a subnetting question. You guys ready for a subnetting question? Here we go. And this type of question would show up on the A+, Net Plus, or Security Plus. All right, here we go. You guys ready? Subnetting question. You are starting off with the network ID of 192.168.4 WAC24. Write that down, people. You got a 192.168.4 WAC24 subnet. So that means you're in control of every number in there from 192.168.4.0 to 192.168.4.255. Okay? You're going to take that value and you're going to break it up into 3 subnets. Can't do 2 subnets. You have to have at least 3 subnets. What would the resulting subnet mask be? This is a classic type of question. It's actually a very simple question. So we're starting off with this. You have to make at least 3 subnets. You can make more if you have to. You have to. You have 3 subnets. What is the resulting subnet mask going to be? This is actually a very simple question. I just want the subnet mask, guys. So right now it's a WAC 24. Can I do this in my head? I have the answer. Wow, really, guys? I'm going to give away. Come on, guys, work it, figure it out. You started off with a WAC 24 subnet. All you want to do is you want to have at least 3 subnets. What will the subnet be when you're done? And the answer is WAC 26. So we have 2 winners on here, Frank and Nada D. So guys, this isn't hard. So you start with a WAC 24, okay? You move the subnet over to WAC 25. That gives you 2 subnets, 0 or 1. If you move it over 2 more times, that's going to give you 4 subnets, 00, 01, 10, and 11. I don't know what the subnets are. We could work it out. I'm too lazy. But the right answer is 26. And those are really all the answers we're looking for. Okay, so you guys ready? Frank and Nada D, you are both winners. Both of you guys are going to get access to whatever practice questions you like. Just send an email to kathyy at totalsem.com. Let them know that you're a winner from today. I guess we could do, I don't want to do it today because it takes too long, but I guess we could do another subnetting. Would you guys like to do another subnetting? We can do another subnetting. The challenge is I need a whiteboard to really show you guys how to do it right. Sure. You know what? I don't think I'm going to have my certifications done by Wednesday. Let's talk about subnetting on Wednesday. How does that grab you guys? It's really ridiculously easy. People make subnetting out to be hard, and it's not that complicated at all. And it's just a matter of playing with a couple of things, and we will do that. Change Geek. Hey, Change Geek, I got your email, man. Do you have any favorite non-technical security books you can recommend? Something for the more casual, light reading? Nope, I don't. Sorry. Jason, subnetting it's just persnickety. You got to play with it a little bit. Not a D. Do you accept my offer? Not a D is making me offers, and I'm missing it. I will pass it this time. I won once. Yes, you will, Nada. There we go. I accept your offer. All right. All right, guys, it looks like questions. So last chance here. All right, that looks like we have all the questions for today. All right, folks, it is 3:30. I will show up. I am going to join the Discord channel. Please join the Discord channel. It's always a great thing. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the Total Seminars channel right here on YouTube. Next week, it's going to be, or this week, this Wednesday, I'm going to do a little bit of a subnetting review, and we're basically going to do practice questions. I'm not going to really teach you guys subnetting, as I'm going to do practice questions, and then we're going to see how I did it. So I'm assuming you guys have at least a base understanding of subnetting at this point. But that's what we'll do. Charizard. That sounds like some Pokemon thing. Hey, Mike, I really like the idea of being a cloud solutions architect in the future. Cool. Could you recommend a certification path for someone like me studying A+ at the moment? Charizard, I'm not going to, and the reason is very simple. I'm very quickly putting together a more formal presentation on this. I was going to try to have it done by today. I may have it done on Wednesday. We'll see how it goes. But if I don't have it done by Wednesday, I'll have it done by the next Monday, which is really going to go into a lot of detail on the different types of certifications. I was very surprised to see that there are over 300 different IT security certifications out there. And so I've been really going through a lot of certs, man. A lot of certs. Try to filter out, what's legit, what are people looking for, what's achievable, and that's what we're putting together, and we'll have that ready for you. But Charzed, please come back on Wednesday. Dave Rush, his group on Fridays is going to be completing DNS. So that should be cool. Heck, I'd love to see that. And so that's Dave this Friday right here on the Total Seminars channel. And other than that, I guess we're going to let you guys go. Donna D, Scott Jernigan does not seem to be upset with me. That's very, very good. We'll have the cameras all reset next week. You won't be looking at a little bit of Mike's head there at the bottom. But other than that, I think that's about it, folks. I will see y'all. I will come online in about 15 minutes. And until then, I'm out of here. And this is your little Uncle Mikey saying good night. Good night.